The choice is yours, what are you gonna do? You gonna eat the red pill or throw away the blue? You know your life might know the same.
Juan.
Juan. I'm John.
Do you mind if I eat what I'm...
No, by all means. Yeah. Do you think you've been told the truth about the world in which you live?
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, I guess it's a difficult question to answer anyway, because we don't get told what. Let me rephrase that. We are not told the truth on the media, so you have to be careful. You have to look for your sources. That said, you can get a glimpse of what happens around you if you're careful of what you look for.
And where do you get most of your information that informs your opinion of the world? Where do you get your information from?
I mean, when it comes to current affairs, you have to read the news. There's no other way around, apart from asking people and trying to share some information. So current affairs, I try to read a few media outlets. As I have a few that I trust, like say The Guardian, say New York Times.
The Guardian?
The Guardian, yeah.
What else?
But I mean, it's not that I read an article and I take it for granted, you know. Sometimes I like to read something more conservative, just to see how they depict reality, and I try to compare the same news. That said, I come from a media education background, so I've been told how to how to read the news in a way. So I try to be careful. But that said, I think it's probably more useful to read a few classic books and get an idea how people are than to read the news.
And do you look for alternative media in the web, or is it mainstream?
I do follow a few that are not as big, especially for Spanish news. I try to. There are a few that are like self-managed.
Right.
And I guess nowadays you also keep track of Twitter or Facebook feed of other people that you trust.
Yeah.
Independent, people that have a blog and talk about things as well.
In a world of lies, deceit, propaganda, spin, media bias, political bias, do you think there's any chance that you've been brainwashed?
Definitely, yeah. That's a possibility,
yeah. Could I raise a subject which I think we have been brainwashed in, and asking you, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Sorry?
What shape do you think the Earth is?
Rounded.
Round like a coin, or round like a ball?
Like a ball.
Like a ball. And why do you think it's round like a ball?
I guess that's what I've been told. Some people used to believe that it was completely flat, and now we're told that it's squared. I mean, it's like three-dimensional, like a ball. And I guess it makes sense to us. I mean, I'm not very knowledgeable of why the Earth is how it is, but like I guess there are some when people say look at the sea, and you see that it's kind of round and things like that, so you get a bit of an idea that is rounded. I don't know if that's a good answer.
Have you heard the term the winners write the history books?
Yeah?
Have you heard the term the winners write the history books?
No.
Sometimes in history, the people who won, say, a war or something, they write the history books, not the losers. So, we don't know if it's 100% accurate or not, or was a lot of propaganda being written about it. But you mentioned seeing the curvature. Have you ever seen the curvature of the Earth?
Slightly, yeah, I guess.
You have?
On the sea as well.
Yeah?
On a plane. I mean, I guess I have.
I think all knowledge has to be evidenced. It must be evidence-based before
yeah.
before I accept it.
Yeah.
Have you got any evidence that you've seen the curvature?
Well, it's a matter of my perception, according to what I've read. So, if I don't know much about it in the matter, and someone tells me that's because of that, and I take it for granted, you know. But I guess I do because
it's second-hand information.
Yeah. But I guess
it's not evidence-based, is it? If we're reading it in a book, then we're adopting that as like a belief because we can't evidence it ourselves.
But I guess I never really question if there could be something else than you know that the fact that the Earth is that way. For instance, I've heard many times that the map of the world is not really how it is pictured to be. That some countries should be way bigger than they are, and that has political reason to be. So that
absolutely, yes.
And I could see that point definitely. I'm not an expert in geography to know the answer. So I guess I don't pay much attention since it doesn't really affect my day-to-day life as much.
Yeah. But what if you're obviously into media, but don't you think we should be told the truth? Don't you think the media has a responsibility to tell the truth to the public rather than fabricating lies and disinformation? Yeah,
definitely. I just guess sometimes it's hard to convey the truth for some people.
Yeah.
Some people might believe something maybe they took it for granted from someone else, and they still believe it's the truth, and that's what they are trying to convey. And they're powerful enough to impose it on other people. Yeah.
I would suggest both you and I took it for granted when we were about 5, that we lived in a ball and we never questioned it ever again.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah, and so it wasn't until 3 years ago I started to question it again. Now there's no evidence that we're living in a ball because all those images of Earth are actually photoshopped, they're not photographs. So we have no photographs of space. We have no photographs of Earth from space. They're all photoshopped. And we're supposed to believe that water can conform to the outside of a ball and spin around, and this illusionary magic force called gravity is holding water to the ball, even though gravity is only a theory and it's never been proven. But we adopt and we accept that without any evidence.
But now I have to believe you when you say that that's all photoshopped.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
The evidence that I have to believe that.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I'm not asking you to believe me.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a reference so that you can go off and have a look, and you can hear it from the horse's mouth rather than hearing it from me.
Yeah.
But Robert Simmons, who works for NASA, recently said in an interview, now he created the blue marble shots you see every year from NASA. And he's saying they're all photoshopped because they have to be. So he's saying they're not photographs, they're photoshopped. Even on NASA's website, they did not refer to them as photographs, they just referred to them as images. Because if they did refer to them as photographs, they'd be sued for that, because they're not photographs. So does that shock you that there's no actual photographs of a spinning ball Earth?
It surprised me. I mean, if I think of, it surprised me because, for instance, in YouTube, I might have seen individual people with their own cameras that they shoot something, like they put a balloon on the camera and it goes up, and you get to see a bit of curvature there. You get to see a bit of, or I don't know, are they all part of the plot? Like for instance, the astronauts that are filmed. I guess we'll take it for granted, but
yeah, but you know they could fake anything though. You know that an image and a photograph is not proof of anything.
It is not, but I just guess that I find it complicated to believe that everyone that produces images out of the Earth are.
Have you heard of a fisheye lens?
Yeah.
NASA uses fisheye lenses to make things look curved. Here's an amateur balloon up at high altitude. Does that look flat or curved?
That looks flat, yeah.
Yeah. Right, you can go on and see hundreds of these balloons going up, and they film a flat horizon. But it's only NASA who show you a curved horizon.
May I ask why? I mean, what reasons do you think they will have to do that way, to make us believe that we live in a ball?
Well, to me, I think it's about control. If you imagine that little dandelion there, I'm going to tell you that's Earth, and all around it is space. So you're never going to discover this park because you think space is out there. There's not. There's more land. So you're contained on this wee flower.
I see.
Like cattle, and you're not going to go any further than that. So it's about control of the population. And who's to know what land is further? But we're not allowed to go there because independently you can't go to Antarctica or the outer extremities because it's patrolled by a treaty of over 47 countries and it's controlled by the military. So we'll never get out there to see for ourselves. So NASA has a monopoly on space. A place which
what about? I was thinking, what about? Okay, according to this view that you have, say you go to Antarctica or the end of the world, as you might call it, and according to this view, there might be something else, and it's not the fact that you just come around the world. But what about, for instance, the fact that you know how the daylight works on all these different latitudes? I mean, isn't that an evidence that you know, the primates, I don't know,
that we're on a ball? Well, I don't like to present models, but that's a model of how the sun and the moon revolve around a flat Earth rather than a round Earth. You have night and day, where the sun is a lot closer, but it's more like a torch beam rather than a huge illuminating ball. And
but is there any sort of like limits to the ball, to the
limits? What do you mean?
Is it still circular in a
flat?
Yeah, it's flat, but is it still circular, or according to that view?
Well, we don't know what's beyond this white. I mean, I'm not advocating that, but that's an idea that some people say is surrounded by the ice wall, and Antarctica surrounds the Earth. It's not an island. I mean, water cannot exist on a ball, but we're led to believe it is, and we're led to believe gravity can hold water to a ball, but gravity's never been proven. That's why it's called the theory of gravity. It doesn't actually exist. Now, if I drop my phone, density can explain that. We don't need gravity to say there's a magnetic force at the centre of the Earth pulling it down. You know, density could do that. And when you see boats going over the horizon, you only have to zoom in with a telescope or a zoom camera and see the bottom of the boat again, showing you it's just a matter of perspective. There's no curvature there. So nobody has evidence of a curvature.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I guess I could rehearse a little bit more to find evidence for that.
Well, we've both been looking for 3 years, and so has millions of other people. We've not found any.
That's very interesting, though.
It's just that we don't use our critical thinking to things that we believe in. We just accept them because it's coming from academics or the government or the media.
But there must be a lot of people that are aware of this fact and are trying to protect it from.
I don't think so. No.
I mean,
you don't need many people. You only need the people who think they've gone to space and a few people above them.
But it's something as basic as that. How about all the pilots? They must be aware of these limitations, these curvature.
They just follow the dials. I've spoken to pilots, and I used to parachute, so I've spoken to pilots I've flown with. None of them have ever seen a curvature, and none of them fly to accommodate the curvature of the Earth. So they all fly in a horizontal plane. They have a gyroscope and artificial horizon to keep the plane steady. Now, if you're on a ball and you flew in a straight line, you'd go off into space, would you not?
What is that?
If you're flying straight on a ball, you'd go off into space, would you not?
I'm not sure. What's the question again?
Imagine you're on a ball and you're going to fly in a plane around it. If you flew straight horizontally, you'd fly off into space, would you not?
Yeah.
So it's impossible, isn't it? It's impossible to fly around a ball.
But I guess it's because we are, I don't know, part of that idea of gravity is that you are self-contained in that. Which
we can't evidence, we can't prove.
Yeah, I don't have enough information to. But at the same time, there's a little part of me which is thinking, I obviously don't have enough evidence to tell you that you're wrong, but at the same time, what if this is what if this is what if you're testing my how easy it's for someone like me to believe that the Earth is flat and it's not rounded. And I don't know.
But if you notice, I'm not trying to convince you it is flat. I'm just trying to get you to question what you've been told, that it's round.
Yeah.
Which all natural science states it's not round. You know, the behaviour of water, how water behaves. The Earth is made up of 70% flat water.
Yeah.
Possible on a ball. You know, water can't conform to the exterior of any shape. You know, because it finds its own level. There's no evidence of a curvature. You know, planes can't fly around a ball. You know, gravity's never been proven. You know, it's just so much evidence pointing to the fact that we don't live in a ball, but we just believe it because we're told at school.
That's interesting.
But after I've spoken to you, or in your leisure, if you go on and you put Flat Earth into YouTube, you'll see millions of videos.
Yeah, no, that. I mean, what I take after this is not that I necessarily believe what you say, but I'll definitely look for evidence for this idea that,
because like me before that, you're just taking one side of it, and you think you're informed because you believe what you're told. But now you're going to look into a conflicting argument. So now you're aware of two, and so you can make an informed choice because you've got both sides of the argument. But before, we only had one side of the argument.
The thing is, I could get defensive. I could even get that if I say something what you're saying to someone might tell you you're crazy or something.
They definitely will, yeah. But I would argue
it might not be something that you want to bring up in a group of conversation, but at the same time, we have evidence from the books in the past where people thought in one way and then they were they were completely wrong. So.
But I would say if you bring it up to somebody and they react with crazy and all that, that's a pre-programmed conditional response that they're not aware of, because they've been programmed to react that way to something like that, where they should be reacting like, oh, interesting, show me your evidence, let's have a discussion about it.
I guess it's
rather than dismiss without inquiry, because that's classed as lunacy. And because and they've been brought up with images of boats going over a cliff, over the edge. You know, that's what they've got in their head. But let's say there wasn't an edge. Why do you think there's an edge? You know, they tell you space is infinite and you believe it. You don't question that, but yet you question what if I say there might not be an edge. You know, so.
That's interesting, definitely.
Yeah, but
you're trying to collect evidence of what people think, or what is this thing for? Is it
to see people's reactions and to suggest to them that they're not living in a ball, and what do they think of that, and what do they think of me for bringing that up?
I think I mean, what would you do that? I guess I'm assuming you're on your day off and from work or whatever, and you do this because you believe in it. No? You want to bring some insight in people's lives. So
yeah, I like to stay away from the word belief, but I'm angry. I'm angry that I've been lied to all my life. I'm angry that children have still been lied to. I'm angry that science, education, politics and the media are all lying to our children to make them believe they live in this magical spinning ball with water on it. So I feel compelled to go and raise people's awareness and to make them think about what they've been told. Have they ever really questioned it? Have they ever really critically analysed what they've been told? Or have they just accepted it blindly all their lives without even thinking about it? And if they say, well, what does it matter to me if it's round? Well, it matters to children. It matters that an education system is set up to lie to people, you know, and to indoctrinate them into a lie. I mean, to me, that's criminal.
I'm just thinking that if it's an interesting concept to work on, like say the Earth is flat and they are protecting the edges for some reason. There's some sort of like I guess elite controlling that. What would be the reason? What could be what could be behind that? I mean, it's intriguing, no?
It's intriguing, but then if we go into that, I'm straying away from facts and going to theories, and which is okay.
So what would happen if someone is flying a plane and just gets off the edges? So there would be like something or someone that would say you're not allowed to go on.
Yeah, the military would intervene and stop you. No fly zones, and they just extended a no fishing zone where you can't go anywhere near Antarctica to fish. They're saying it's for fishing reasons, to protect fish. But you know, there's been a young explorer who tried to go there without a permit, and I think he was met with an armed resistance at one point. And then the next time he went with 4 colleagues, and they arrived in Antarctica, and him and his colleague went on ski bikes to try to get to the edge.
I was thinking one evidence that could, like for instance, you know, when say fishing, there are water currents and you get things that you put on the water go to the other side of the earth. But thinking if it's actually like a circle, there could be a way that things go all around anyway. So there's a circle, it's just not spheric.
And you can circumnavigate a disc.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, nobody's circumnavigated the Earth north to south. So I think that's a bit strange. With all the adventurers and explorers we got, nobody's gone between north and south.
You mean from say Antarctica to the North Pole?
Yeah, pole to pole. Because you can. It's flat.
That's interesting.
You think all these explorers would be doing it every so often and documenting it and filming it, you know? But I mean, can you feel the spin? We're supposed to be spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. We're travelling 67,000 miles an hour around the sun. But yet, look at those leaves. Wow.
How about all these people from NASA as well? You're using NASA as you know, as a sort of authority argument. But all these people are providing with images of you know, we've discovered this planet, we discovered that other planet.
I was asked, just ask one question to that, say, well, where's your evidence?
Yeah.
Where's the evidence for these planets? They keep saying this planet, that planet, this solar system. Where's your evidence? People just believe in that without evidence.
How about these people that are trying to create businesses out of you know, these people, SpaceX, all these companies that they are trying to get out of space and do it for tourism? How are they going to do that if?
Well, they're not. Richard Branson's been saying he's been going to do that for 20 years. He's not done it. And then you'll get a bit older and you'll forget about it. Then the next generation will be told, oh, we'll be up in space for tourists soon in 10, 20 years. And then they get older and they forget about it. The next generation, oh, we'll be up in space in 10, 20 years. And they keep on telling them that, and people buy that.
But I'm still trying to see, so if the Earth is flat, where's the sun and the moon? Are they just flat entities on top of it? Or?
Well, I showed you a diagram there where they're revolving opposite each other around the Earth, a lot closer than we're told they are. And there's no evidence that these are solid globe shapes. All we can see is disc shapes. All we know is there are lights. We don't know. We can't prove that they're spherical in shape or solid, because we can't go there. We can't see them in 3D, so we can only see them in 2D. We've all been lied to. Space doesn't exist. Planets don't exist. So space travel, astronauts, it's all a lie to convince us. All your science fiction stuff from Hollywood,
propaganda.
That's all propaganda to social condition. Believe you're on a ball. Aliens to believe you're on a ball. Meteors, and keep you in fear. Where we're on a flat plane and we're not moving. There's no meteors coming anywhere. There's no aliens. There's no other planets. But it keeps us in fear and keeps us controlled and hemmed into this pen. And who's to say there's not more pens out there beyond what we're told is space? You know? But
it's. I mean, I find very hard to that a whole society will comply to that without like that everyone is on the game. That I guess it's a very clever way to keep a secret, is to create a system in which people believe that. Yeah. So they will be
believe it so easily.
They'll be working for you without knowing.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
You know, to protect that idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well. Yeah. Social engineering.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, let's just say that you trained to be a teacher.
Yeah.
In geography. Well, that's exactly what you'd be doing. You'd be keeping that glowing, the lie growing, not knowing the true aspects of it.
But you know, when you see all these public figures, like there was an astronaut in Edinburgh not a long time ago, a Canadian one.
There was a what?
This very motivational speaker, this Canadian astronaut.
Oh yeah.
This guy that was in the moon and was singing and all that. And I see these people when they speak about, they must be aware, if they are, you know, at this level, they must be aware of whatever.
Especially if they're an astronaut, yeah.
Yeah.
Space doesn't exist.
Yeah. So how can they be? I'm just trying to see people. How can they be?
Because he's got
talking like you are talking to me, and how can they be lying to people? I find
because he's got a suitcase full of money given to him, millions of pounds, and his family are threatened. Now, what would you do? If I said that your family are going to be tortured and killed, and you're going to disappear, or you can take this £20 million, big house, car,